процвітанні, сонце й дим. Мало хто знає, що ж буде з ним, що буде завтра.
Держитесь там, главное домой живы вернитесь, потому что ваша жизнь не стоит всего, а все остальное ни хрена не стоит.
Calgary branch for bringing us all together today, and my goodness, what a crowd. Thank you all for showing up. Here in Calgary, as our Ukrainian friends have come to know, we are proud to be a community that aims to welcome and uplift people from all walks of life. And so, as we stand in solidarity with Ukraine, it is important to acknowledge the land that we are on. In the spirit of reconciliation and inclusion, I offer greetings in the traditional languages of the original stewards of this land, the Treaty 7 peoples. So, Oki, Dadanastada, Amawastich, and Tansei to all of you. For 3 years, Ukrainians have fought for their freedom, for their right to exist.
To stand in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Yet today we stand here to mark the 3rd anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. 3 years of horrific war and indiscriminate terror on the Ukrainian people. 3 years of displaced children and bombed out towns and cities. 3 years of Russian aggression on the streets of Ukraine and through misinformation campaigns across the world. Yet despite this, Ukrainians at home and abroad, here in Canada, stand with strength. Day in, day out, they fight for freedom over fear against a neo-imperial tyranny. Their message is clear. We must replace dictator domination with Canadian energy. We must strengthen Canadian defense production. And we must promote policies of peace through strength instead of entreaties of appeasement. As our town squares burn, mobs threaten individual dignity and freedom. And as along the front, where hundreds of thousands of drones hover over 100-kilometer front of forces fighting fiercely for the modern age over medieval tyranny, it is time for leaders with conviction to unlock the economic and military strength required in this generation's greatest test. 2 years ago, in a report from the bombardment of Kharkiv, an elderly woman stood in the rubble of her apartment. She interrupted her neighbor in the middle of an interview, surveying the damage inflicted by Russia's indiscriminate attacks. She shared 3 words: hope dies last. If we are to live up to our potential as a country, then we will heed her wisdom that without hope we have nothing. It is time to replace a government unwilling to do what Canada must. It is time to replace it with one that delivers upon the strengths of our nation to a world eagerly awaiting them, one that restores the promise of Canada to alliances broken so badly. Amid the gathering darkness, hope dies last. We choose freedom over fear. We will never give in. We will never back down. We will never surrender to those that would break us. And we will restore the promise of Canada for you. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you very much, MP Majumdar, and thank you to all Canadians across the country who have shown their support for Ukrainians through the past 3 years and beyond. And I am now honored to welcome Minister of Municipal Affairs, Rick McIver, to speak on behalf of the provincial government.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here on behalf of Premier Daniel Smith and Alberta's government. We stand with Ukraine and we stand with the Ukrainian people as we have from the beginning, and will till the end that won't come, because Ukraine needs to be here forever. Now, for the people that are here from Ukraine that have come in the last 3 years, we love that you're here, but we want you to have a choice to be here or to be in Ukraine. That's what we most want. I'm pretty sure that's what you want too. And today's a good time to remind people that when you steal something, you don't get to keep it. Somebody steals a car and they get caught, they have to give it back. Somebody steals money and they get caught, they have to give it back. That's why I will say that Crimea is Ukraine. I want to thank the Ukrainian Canadian Congress, the Calgary branch, for organizing this important event to remind the world that we have not forgotten about Ukraine, and nobody else should forget about Ukraine also. Another phrase that many groups of people say to me that I think is appropriate, and I think you'll forgive me for saying it on behalf of Ukraine, when people are talking about the future of Ukraine, nothing about us without us. Listen, over the past... Okay, we're back. How about that? Listen, this has been going on for more than 3 years, but this illegal invasion 3 years ago done by Putin, it's a crime. Anybody sensible in the world should see it as a crime. I'm severely offended by people that lately have been talking about Ukraine starting a war. Ukraine is defending itself against an illegal invasion. And while Alberta's, I think, benefited more than most places by having Ukrainian people come here, this is not the way we want you to come here. We want you to come here by choice. We all know Ukraine has brought us a premier of this great province. But again, we want you here. We want Ukrainian people here by choice, not by force. So our Alberta government will continue to stand with you. Solidarity knows no borders. Our compassion and our advocacy matter. I admire the resilience, the bravery, the sacrifice that Ukrainian people have made to protect their homeland.
Ukraine. In the days that followed, the whole world would see the horrors that were visited on peaceful Ukrainian cities and the suffering of countless families driven from their homes. Since then, we have also witnessed the incredible bravery and
Слава Україні! Thank you for your presence tonight. I am overwhelmed to see so many people standing with Ukraine. Join the cities across the Canada and entire world in this awful war. We are marking today as a third anniversary of our invasion in Ukraine. As well, 11 years of our invasion in Crimea, where Russia started awful war against of Ukraine. Think about it, 11 years, Ukraine fighting for its independence, and their nations even become stronger. My name is Roman Yosefov. I'm the president of a Calgary Congress, Ukrainian Canadian Congress. Конгрес українців був заснований в 1940 році, власне, для праці з українською громадою і місцевими депутатами, пресою, а також іншими канадськими організаціями. Це важливо збиратися сьогодні, важливо відзначати такі дати. Тому дуже дякую. Officials who's gonna support Ukraine. Also, we're gonna hear from the local volunteers, newcomers, and even from the frontliners of Ukraine. It is important today to realize where we are, who we are, and what we do. And now, please help me to welcome our MCs for tonight, Olenka and Sabina. Please welcome.
Not only to reflect on the immense hardships that Ukraine has faced, but to honor the strength, the courage, and the unwavering spirit of the Ukrainian people. We live in a world that feels increasingly fractured. Conflict, war, displacement, and injustice. These realities weigh heavily on our hearts. In Ukraine, families have been torn apart. Cities have been reduced to rubble. Innocent lives have been lost. And yet through it all, the Ukrainian people continue to stand. They continue to resist, and they continue to have hope. We see this resilience right here in Calgary. Over the past 3 years, thousands of Ukrainians have made our city their home. They have arrived carrying the weight of war, and yet they have given so much in return, bringing their culture, their traditions, their talents, and their dreams.
grief for those fallen. May the memory of your loved ones be eternal. Слава Україні! Тричі слава ЗСУ! Слава! 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 Once more, to those who wish to support Ukraine's defenders, please support organizations like United 24 and the Canada-Ukraine Foundation and speak today with representatives from our local groups fundraising for the Ukrainian armed forces. And now it is an honor to welcome our keynote speaker, Богдан Романюк, to the podium. Bogdan has been an active member of the Ukrainian community in Canada for over 50 years. He has served in leadership positions for organizations including the Ukrainian Canadian Professional and Business Association of Calgary, the Ukrainian Canadian Congress, Alberta Provincial Council, the Canada-Ukraine Foundation, and the Shevchenko Foundation, among many others. Bogdan was part of the November 14, 2022 cohort of Canadians to be officially sanctioned by the Kremlin. Please help me welcome Mr. Romanuk to the stage for tonight's keynote.
Legislature. God bless friends of Ukraine. The title of my speech today, the title of it today is The Great Betrayal. And just this past week, we have witnessed one of history's greatest and most shameless betrayals of a free and independent nation, a loyal ally, fighting for its very existence against a rapacious, genocidal, imperial, colonialist aggressor. Less than a month into a second term of office as U.S. President of Ukraine, Donald Trump has reversed America's official policy of supporting Ukraine as much and for as long as it takes, to now calling Ukraine the aggressor state, blaming it for starting the war, blaming it for not ending the war on terms earlier dictated by Russia, and parroting word for word even the most preposterous of the Kremlin's demands for a permanent end to hostilities. In a word, Trump is handing Ukraine to Russia on a silver platter, while asking nothing in return from Russia other than future business opportunities for American corporations. Here's a list of Russia's key non-negotiable terms for peace deal and Trump's response to those terms prior to the start of negotiations. First, Russia opposes any direct Ukrainian or European participation in negotiations for a quick peace agreement. Trump is totally fine. According to him, there is absolutely no reason for Zelensky to participate because he has no cards to play. And he is a poor negotiator and a grossly incompetent leader. Those are direct quotes. Second, Russia demands that its annexation of Crimea and the other 4 Ukrainian oblasts and regions it has partially or totally occupied to date be recognized as permanent and irreversible. Trump and his cabinet all agree that Ukraine will have to concede land for peace, starting with Crimea. It's also very likely that Ukraine will be forced to give up most, if not all, of the territory Russia has captured since 2014. When asked why, Trump responded that, and I'm quoting, Russia has fought very hard to take that territory, so why shouldn't it be allowed to keep it? Imagine that. Third, Russia wants to permanently block NATO membership for Ukraine. According to Trump and Vance, any thought on Ukraine's part of future membership in NATO is a non-starter.
My 13-year-old brother goes to the school bomb shelter at least 5 times a day. They have learned to do this just in 3 minutes. Children in Ukraine have no childhood. These schools are being mined, and then they are sent home. But even there is not safety. When I arrived home, my eyes were filled with joy. But the eyes of Ukrainians, I saw exhaustion, pain, and disbelief. How can everyone feels when this their reality? Since 2022, 55,000 individuals air raid sirens have sounded across Ukraine. For over 60,000 hours collectively. In Donetsk and Lugansk, air raids haven't sounded 1/3 of every day for the past 3 years. People often ask me if there is a full place in Ukraine. No, there isn't. Wherever you are, Russia will find you. When I stood in the Lukyanivka metro station, attacked by Russia at least 3 times, I felt the ground disappear beneath my feet for the first time. I lived there for 4 years. I passed through that station at least 4 times a day. What if I had still been there? This is what they do. They raise schools, hospitals, museums, childhoods, memories, histories, my and your house. Now just imagine what people from destroyed cities feel, from Bakhmut, Mariupol, Pokrovsk, and dozens of other cities and villages, places they will never turn to. At night in Ukraine, the streets are empty. People are afraid. The city lights turn off at 9 p.m. And by midnight, everyone must be home. This is not life. Just imagine you living in your own home, but not be able to truly live. Evening walks, fireworks, festivals. There, these things are distant memories. People have forgot what it feels like. The only thing, one thing keeping us alive in the armed forces of Ukraine. Every Ukrainian has a friend in the military. And I am. My childhood friend Nikita Zabila was killed in the war in the Donetsk region in 2023. He was only 23. There are thousands like him. Any of us could have been in their place. And every life Russia takes leaves behind 1,000 wounded souls. People who will carry this pain forever. And every morning at 9 a.m. in Ukraine, all Ukraine stops. For 1 minute, everything comes to a halt, a moment of silence, of honor those who gave their lives for a peaceful sky. Let us today reflect on the human toll of this war with a moment of silence. We include all Canadians who gave their lives protecting Ukraine.
Дуже важко передбачити, як складеться той чи інший день. Він може прийти спокійно і дати можливість підготуватись, а може скластись так, що в цей день можна втратити все, що планувалось використовувати протягом досить довгого проміжку часу. Тому завжди була, є і буде залишатись потреба на збір коштів, щоб компенсувати втрачене, пошкоджене майно, або придбати щось нове.
І кожного дня ми потребуємо дуже багато розхідних матеріалів, таких як автомобілі, дрони, антени.
We need many needs, but the most important of them are, of course, military. Drones, cars, electronics, equipment, and so on and so forth.
Серед потреб традиційними залишаються засоби пересування особового складу та перевезення військових вантажів. Умови, в яких використовується техніка, досить складні і не завжди вдається закривати цю потребу самостійно.
Позаду мене знаходиться Запорізька атомна електростанція. Я думаю, всі розуміють, яке у нас зараз становище. Яке становище у хлопців на фронті.
Звертаючись до вас з проханням про допомогу, наголошую на тому, що В жодному разі, жодним чином вона не буде марною, а кожен внесок стане внеском в мирне майбутнє нашої країни. Дякую Канаді та українській діаспорі за розуміння та підтримку.
Вихідцям з України, які зараз мешкають в Канаді, за підтримку і турботу, за те, що вони досі допомагають нам.
Thanks to every person in every country helping us. And thanks to Canada for your support and tirelessness.
Слава Україні!
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
To support Ukrainian defenders and call your attention to local groups such as Victory for UA, Ukrainians of Calgary Associations, Wanderings and Calgary Brigade of Ukraine, who fundraise directly of New Liga and military aid to Ukraine. All have represented here today on the ready to speak with you of the booth of the left of the site how to about support this words.
Three days ago, UCC Calgary was approached by the Nobel Prize-winning human rights organization, Ukraine Center for Civil Liberties, to add a special group action to today's event. We agreed, and we ask now for your participation to call public attention to this vital message. A key priority of any negotiations between Ukraine, Russia, and the international community must be the release of all captives and illegally deported children of Russia's war against Ukraine. This message is simple. People first. Please take out your keys, house keys, car keys, and jingle them in the air as we chant people first. Keys are the symbol of freedom. We all have them except those in captivity.
На прохання Українського центру громадських свобод просимо вас долучитися до цієї акції, до звільнення полонених і незаконно депортованих дітей, які стали жертвами війни Росії в Україні. Ключі – це простий символ, одночасно і звільнення, і дому. Вони є у кожного у кишені, крім тих, хто не на волі. Водночас людина – найцінніша цінність кожної держави. Тому разом брязкнемо ключима, донесемо цю ціль і цю боротьбу.
We ask for Canada's support in ensuring all those in Kremlin captivity are brought safely home. Let us all take out our keys and chant together. People first! 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 People first!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Your message will be shared with the Center of Civil Liberty, who use action like this to advise of Ukrainian human rights each day.
And if I may take the podium for just one moment, my name is Stefania Romaniuk. I'm the Vice President of the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress here in Calgary. Thank you so much for being here. I have one addition to this program, quite unexpected. A young gentleman from Afghanistan came here with a Ukrainian friend of his, and he would like to read an original poem that he wrote in honor of Ukraine. So I invite Mohammed Muzamil to the stage to read his prepared poem. Please share our support for our international allies and welcome him.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed Muzamil. I'm from Afghanistan and I stand with Ukraine, so to express my feelings I wrote a poem for Ukraine. From Afghanistan to Ukraine. I have seen skies turned by fire, home reduced to dust and wire. I have walked where shadows creep, where mothers pray and children weep. From Afghanistan to Ukraine, I know your sorrow, I know your pain. I too have watched my homeland bleed, felt its sorrow, heard its need. Yet still you rise, unbowed, unbroken. You restrain in every word unspoken. Through darkest night, through fire and rain, your spirit shines beyond the pain. We stand as one, our hearts beat true. With one voice, one fight we follow through. Разом, допоможуть. Slava Ukraine.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. One more round of applause.
I now would like to invite to the stage Angelina Taran, Youth Ambassador of the Ukrainian Canadian Congress and the creator of Ukrainian language program of Ukrainians in Calgary, Your News Calgary. Angelina recently visited Ukraine and today she will share her experience with us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Canada, to support us every day. And thank you so much for being our home. This night, Russia launched 267 armed aerial vehicles over Ukraine. As the most terrifying things is hearing them while I'm talking to my father on the phone. I just returned from Ukraine and I have some video for you. I would like to show you how it's in Ukraine now. In the 2 weeks I spent there, not a single day, not a single night passed without either raids, sirens, or attacks.
I'm asking you, elected officials, to extend for another year all programs for co-ed holders in Canada, including the deadline for extending work permits. Due to passport processing challenges outside of their control, many Ukrainians face a looming deadline on March 31st, 2025. The final deadline for extending their work permits, permit applications, and visitor records for their children. Securing consular appointments in Alberta has been so challenging that many have had no choice but to fly to Ottawa or Toronto or even to Ukraine to ensure they have what is needed to apply. And passport application timing issues prevent countless of others from even applying, complicating or even completely impeding their ability to remain safely in Canada. Many Ukrainians have nowhere to return. Their homes have been destroyed. Their hometowns are under occupation and under constant shelling. The war is still on, and we still need help to adapt, to leave, to support Ukraine. Please extend this deadline and consider the automatic extension of all programs for co-ed holders in Canada. I sincerely thank Canada and everyone who believes in Ukraine, not only with words, but also with deeds. Together we are strong. Glory to Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!
To loyal. We will not waver in our support. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you to all Calgarians who have stood in such strong solidarity with Ukraine. We also wish to thank the incredible team at the City of Calgary for your logistical support on this event, as well as our dear friends at Colors Vision, without whom we would not be able to share video materials today. We also thank the members of our Calgary Police Services who serve and protect our community and all Calgarians. Thank you all for your solidarity.
To share a message of gratitude for our entire Ukrainian community, to our elected official and all Canadians. We welcome our next speaker, Anastasia Zakharkiv, a recent newcomer from Lviv and a volunteer in the Ukrainian community.
Good afternoon, dear community. My name is Anastasia. I'm originally from Lviv, and I have been living in Canada for over 2 years. I, like many Ukrainians, arrived in Canada after the start of the full-scale invasion.
Thank you for being those people that we can all look up to that way. Together, we will continue to support Ukraine and its people until peace is restored under a Ukrainian government and no other government. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you very much, Minister McIver, for your ongoing and constant support. And I would also like to read the words of message from Honorable Tanya Fur, who could not attend but wished to share her support with our community. As Minister of Arts, Culture and Status of Women, thank you for your actions to stand in solidarity with Ukraine and for marking 3 years of Ukrainian resistance in the face of Russia's invasion. The ongoing violence experienced by
Councillor Terry Wong, Calgary Board of Education Trustee Susan Vukadinovich, the Honorable Rich McIver. To each and every one of you, many of whom have joined us year after year after year, we express our deepest gratitude for your long-standing support. And now I'm honored to welcome to the stage MP Shuwailo Majumdar to speak on behalf of Parliament. Thank all elected officials who are here. MP Greg McKayler, MP Pat Kelly, MP Tom Kmetch, MP Shuwailo Majumdar,
Ukrainian community that has put down its roots here. It is our responsibility as a city and a nation to ensure that Ukraine's struggle is never forgotten. We must continue to advocate for justice, and we must continue to support Ukraine in every way we can, through humanitarian aid, through policy, and through using our voices. 3 years ago, the world watched in horror as Russia launched its full-scale invasion. And today we continue to watch, but that is no longer enough. It is now about action. And that's why we donate, that's why we rally, and that's why we welcome anyone that comes here in need. We reaffirm our commitment to democracy and freedom, not just for Ukraine, but for all who are facing oppression. Because when the human rights of one group are compromised, all of our human rights are threatened. In times like these, democracy is not something that we can take for granted. We are seeing in real time the threats that the Ukrainian people have known for a century. When leaders toy with authoritarian ideals, when institutions that are meant to protect people are instead twisted to serve one person, we must stand firm and we must be vigilant. Because history has shown us that democracy does not erode overnight. when we are silenced. This is why our voices matter. As mayor, I will never waver amidst any uncertainty. I will not shrink when faced with the threats of tyrants. Calgary is a city of compassion, of resilience, and of justice. And as long as I have the privilege of standing before you in this role, our world is fragile, and it is imperative that we all stand together. This afternoon, we gather not only to reflect on the immense hardships that Ukraine has faced, but to honor the strength, the courage, and the unwavering spirit of the Ukrainian people. We live in a world that feels increasingly fractured. Conflict, war, displacement, and injustice. These realities weigh heavily on our hearts. In Ukraine, families have been torn apart. Cities have been reduced to rubble. Innocent lives have been lost. And yet through it all, the Ukrainian people continue to stand. They continue to resist, and they continue to have hope. We see this resilience right here in Calgary. Over the past 3 years, thousands of Ukrainians have made our city their home. They have arrived carrying the weight of war, and yet they have given so much in return, bringing their culture, their traditions, their talents, and their dreams.
Світові, що ми є, що ми боремося, що ми вимагаємо справедливості для України. І не дозволимо, щоб наші досвіди не без нас. Дякую вам, що ви сьогодні стоїте разом з нами промовляєте до всіх.
України, ні слава, ні воля, ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші вороженьки, як роса на сонці, запанує